We can't tell you how frustrating it was for us to upload our podcast when we first got started. The websites were clunky, we had data limits, and it was all so confusing. That is, until we found Zencastr. Zencastr is an online platform built for podcasters to not only upload their podcasts, track their listeners, connect their audience, and so much more. Zencastr plans have no upload or download limits, so your cost won't grow as you do. Embed their player that automatically updates to show the latest episode of your show. Zencastr lets you see your podcast downloads along with your traffic, website, and Google Analytics. Zencastr also supports multiple podcasts under one account. The best part is, if you already have a podcast on another platform, you can switch to Zencastr with a one-click importer, all free of charge. So what are you waiting for? Head over to howtomakeapodcast.co/Zencastr to start saving time and money with your podcast today.
Welcome to How to Make a Podcast. My name is John Bunn, and I am joined today by my co-host, my bearded best to good buddy, Mr. Nicholas Miller. Nicholas, how are you, my friend? Happy holidays. Tell me what's good in your world. Tell me something good.
Well, something that is good in my world is I just got a new camera. I know that it's not podcasting stuff. Guys, here it is right here. Got it in the mail. You'll have to see it on the video. This is the Canon C70. John and I, for our wedding business, we've both been shooting on the same Canon C100, and it's a good, the Mark II, they're over John's corner. It's a good, 5-year-old camera, 6-year-old? It's been...
I've had them for a
4
while.
years old. It's been a while. And so we're really excited about this one. We pre-ordered and ordered 4 different cameras this year. Both of us did that. And so, but this one, I'm really excited about it. And I just got in the mail yesterday for me. John's is coming in a couple of days.
Yes.
So he'll get his.
And I'll say this, what's really exciting about this is our podcast, How to Film Weddings, paid for each of us to get one of these cameras, and they are almost $6,000 a piece. So our podcast is paying for us to get killer new cameras. And so who knows, maybe your podcast can monetize in such a way that it buys you stupid cool things. It also bought Nick a new microphone. You might want to talk about that mic real quick. Do we link it somewhere? Is it in our gear kit yet? Because I'm digging that mic.
I will be sure to. Oh, and you have one sitting. I have it in a box over here.
I know, because I'm coming to visit you in 2 days.
You are coming.
And I'm getting all my gear from you.
Yeah, we're hanging out. We're hanging out. We're going to do some stuff together. We're going to do a brain dump of a bunch of stuff that we've been talking about for a while.
A lot of dumping.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So this is the Shure MV7. Okay. It is a $250 podcast mic. It was just released a few weeks ago. As I've listened to it with the audio quality between this one and the Rode Podcaster, it's very negligible when it comes to audio quality. Their price point, they're about the same. The one thing that I absolutely love about this microphone is that on the back, it has XLR and USB outputs.
Talk to me, baby.
So right now, as we are recording this, and on my video camera, I can plug in XLR inputs. So I'm actually running this XLR cable into my camera and then the USB out into my computer. So I'm recording my podcast on my computer, which is the one that we're going to use because there's the higher recording quality for the audio, but straight into my computer is an automatic backup and it's already synced together and I know that it sounds great. So in case something happens, like my computer crashes or something like that, I know that I have a backup in my computer. And to me, just having a backup, like a fail-safe, is so huge for the things that we do. Because I can't tell you how many times we've recorded something and John is like, "Oh, didn't push record." I mean, he jokes a lot about that, but that
why is it got to be me that didn't push record?
Well, you say it a lot. But you're just kidding. But no, I have messed up my audio several times. John has messed up his audio, probably not as much as I have messed up my audio. But this is definitely just a backup. And so to me, it's worth it since we're doing the video and I can plug right in. It's worth it for that. It's a $250 mic. I think it's great, and I
have a couple of
will
notes.
highly recommend it.
I have a couple of notes. Number one, when we first started out, we were using way less good mics, and now we have some money.
Way less good.
Way less good. 50% is better than none percent.
Yes.
Still one of my favorite Nick Miller quotes. But you're upgrading this gear after we have proven our podcast and after we've made money and now we have cash to buy certain things. And yeah, it makes the quality even better. And we preach that a lot on this podcast, is just use what you have, the highest quality possible, and then upgrade. And so you've upgraded, your microphone, and then you also said something about redundancy, which is really, really important. So now with your microphone going into your computer and your camera, we're recording those two tracks as well as we record these podcasts on Zoom. So it's recording a third backup just in case the crap hits the fan. We're still going to have good audio. And so I can't recommend enough to slowly build. And that kind of segues a little bit into our episode today, Nick. Mm-hmm. Congratulations to you and I guess to me. I'm patting myself on the back. We passed 10,000 downloads of the How to Make a Podcast.
Blake, put in some sort of celebratory music right here. Something, I don't know, something good. Surprise us.
What would be really funny? What?
It would be really funny if he just didn't put anything in right there. Like people are listening, they're waiting for something.
Through the edit real fast.
Yeah. We have hit, we're really nearing 11,000 downloads of our podcast, How to Make a Podcast. It's been a slow build, but still we launched it. When was that? In July? Yeah. July of 2020. It is, as we're recording this, it's a beginning a part of December of 2020. And so, in less than 6 months, we've gotten, over our 10,000 downloads of this podcast. And it's all the stuff that we preach. And, we're trending upwards. It's not like we hit a number and then we're plateauing down. Like we're continue to trend upwards in our podcast and our numbers and all that stuff.
Nick is coughing, and I will take over from there. Is he choking? He might be passing
No,
out.
I'm good. I'm good.
But I was looking, what's interesting, and not to go too far into my personal world, but some things have happened in my life in the last month. Nick covered for me with some Q&A with Blake. I lost a family member, and so I was kind of grieving and dealing with that. And then I got sick. I got the COVID. And so I was out. I was just out for a while. And what was cool about this is because we have built these systems, we continued to rake in the downloads and build that rapport. And because we had batch recorded episodes and because we have fail safes, I was able to take pretty much 5 weeks off of how to film weddings and how to make a podcast. And we were still making over 20 grand each of those, like that month. And so, it really is a testament to, if you build these systems and you build this, these podcasts the way that we show you, that it can make you money even when you need to do something personal. If you're grieving a loss of a loved one, or if you need to take a break. Nick and I are about to meet up next week, and we're going to record a bunch of episodes and do a brain dump and do all these different things, but we're able to get out in front of it and get ahead of it. And so we wanted to just kind of have a celebration episode and say thank you to the listeners out there for downloading and listening. And so many more people are tagging us on our Instagram. If you don't follow us, at How to Make a Podcast, but they're just growing, and it's fun to see the healthy growth. Our sponsors are happy. Our Facebook group is growing, and we're just doing these things slowly over time. And you could look at it, and we could look at it and say, well, Joe Rogan gets 10 million downloads an episode, so we're never going to get there. But we're making a really good living with 10,000 downloads in 6 months. And our other podcast is getting somewhere around 10,000 downloads a month now. And so it grows and it builds. And the more and more people that you bring into your ecosystem and that you have good content, you just put that in the crock pot, you let that simmer, and boom, you have something that is life-changing, that can buy you gear, that can upgrade things, that can buy you new houses or whatever it is that your goals are in life. These podcasts can do that. And I guess what I'm really wanting the listeners to realize, Nick, is that you don't have to have this massive, massive audience to be able to have major impact. And that's what it all comes down to, is like, how can we impact others? And I had a friend that's in town that's starting a new podcast, and he's like, I've listened to all your episodes. It's so helpful. I'm already like talking to people. I talked to a banker that wants to sponsor my podcast. I haven't even started yet, and I owe it to you. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's so life-changing. Yeah. And so celebration of 10,000, almost 11,000 downloads in a little over 5 months, and kind of breaking down the strategy of what we've done to get there. Nick, anything you want to add about the 10,000 or any of that stuff? I know I rambled a lot. That's what I do.
No. Hey, that's great. Yes, we have, I believe that this is episode 26 of the podcast that we're recording here. Just kind of, and this is really I think the tough time, which I've talked about before. And I think it was around episode 15 or so, about when most podcasters quit, and that's like at this time. It's really pretty easy to knock out 10, 15, even 20 episodes, because you have these ideas and stuff. But after that, whenever you've kind of covered all the things that you want to cover, like, what do you talk about next? And so the number one thing, and there have been several times as John and I have been going through this, that I have thought in my mind, okay, I have too much on my plate. Like, there's just too much. And while I know it's very beneficial, I'm like, is this what we should be doing? Is this where we should be going? But we committed to it. And, we said, hey, we're launching this podcast and we're going to do it. So we're going to do what we can and go. We didn't put a number out there, what we said we were going to do with this, but, we've committed to it. And now we're really, starting to get into that groove, and we're really starting to make something that we know will continue to help this industry. And so thank you so much for, downloading it and listening it, because that just gives us some of that reward for the hard work that we're putting in, and everyone has those questions about, is this worth it? Yes, it absolutely is worth it, and we see that. But as we talk about getting those downloads, that was a little ramble for me. As we talk about getting those downloads and all of that sort of stuff, what was kind of our strategy? What did we do this around? And we will say this, we know that we were in a unique situation whenever we started How to Make a Podcast, because How to Film Weddings, our other podcast, was successful financially. So we could start doing something like building our email list a lot faster, just throwing a lot of some cash at it and throwing some gasoline on the fire, if you want to think of it that way, to really, build our list. Right. As of right now, we have, for How to Make a Podcast, over 8,000 emails in our email list. So we are able to, when we have sales or when we have new episodes or when we have things, we are able to, email people out or that information. Now, if you're just starting out, building a list, it takes time or money, or both, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to build a list quickly if you don't put some ad money behind it. But we strongly recommend building some sort of email list so that you can grow your brand. And then with that, building some sort of Facebook, building a Facebook group for your podcast so your community can get together.
Yeah, and when we got going, we brought somebody in that knew better than us on how to build lead magnets and how to get, people are like, emails, what? But I can tell you this, by having that email list and growing it with a lead magnet, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, but we had a carrot to dangle in front of you that said, hey, do you want this free information? Click here to download it. And if you click to download it, you have to give us your email address. And it was helpful information that helped you. And it also, once you click to download it, it asked you, do you want to join our Facebook group? And so for us, we're gathering as many people into this ecosystem. And some people have unsubscribed or don't listen anymore or whatever. But we wanted to find our people and find our niche. And so building that list, getting it up over 8,000 or 9,000 or whatever it is, if you're not actively doing something, you don't have to be spending money. Like Nick is saying, you can spend money or you can spend time or you can do a little bit of both. If in your podcast you have 20 people that have somehow listened because you've shared it on Facebook or something, you can just say, check out my freebie at yourpodcast.com/free thing or whatever it is, and set up a freebie. and make it to where it automatically connects to an email server and it gives you their email address. And you can grow that slowly over time. And that's what we did with our first podcast. But with this one, we were able to pour a few $1,000s on it before we started and had 2,500 emails right when we got going. And that just set it afire. It set it going. It set it moving. We had emails so we could tell sponsors, hey, look, we've already got this many people interested in podcasting. And so what that has done, and our strategy was, let's front load this, let's spend some money and get the ball rolling. And over the last 2 months, we've actually not spent any money on a lead magnet. We have just let it sit for a second, and we continue to grow because now our Facebook group is growing. There's almost 5,000 people in our Facebook group, but every day there's 2 or 3 or 4 new people that want to join because Facebook's algorithm is showing us up to them. And to join, we ask you if you want to give us your email address. So most people give us their email. So we're still adding emails all the time. And so if I could go back to 2018 when I started with Nick How to Film Weddings, I would have said from the beginning, we have to start building our email list, because if you haven't noticed, algorithms change. They change where the like button is on Instagram, so you hit the shopping button instead of the heart button. I just don't freaking stand. I don't get it. But they change stuff, right?
Yeah.
And YouTube algorithms change, but an email list, you own that. That's your list. And so you can stay in touch with people if Instagram goes down for the day, or if, even the podcast apps that you're using go down or whatever. And by building that list, you can segment those, you can tag them into ways to show up to people to help serve them better so you can have more impact. And so we did those things first. If we were talking to you, you're just getting going or you're trying to figure out how to get downloads, the 10,000 number is great for us. Like that's a benchmark number for us. But like maybe that's just 100 for you, or 500 or 5 million. That's not like, you shouldn't be comparing to us. You should be trying to grow for yourself. But we knew we wanted to build that list and we wanted to build that Facebook group. And that was done through consistency. And Nick says it a lot. I'll let him say it. He knows how to finish my sentence, but consistency
compounds. Yes. So it's just if you do something consistently and you do it well over time, like after a while, like this ball just starts rolling and it starts going down the hill and you're just picking up steam because you've been so consistent for so long. If you put out a podcast episode every Tuesday of every week of every month of every year, before long, like people are just going to realize that and know that that's when it comes out and really get that following. And so you can build and create that community around this podcast, and being so consistent with it is something that has really helped us grow both of our podcasts in, putting stuff out. Very, very, very rarely do we miss a week with our podcast. In fact, with How to Film Weddings, I don't think it has happened at all. I know we've had a couple hiccups in the last, month with how to make a podcast, but I think we just missed 1 week because of some stuff that came up that we couldn't, ignore or whatever. So, but you have that consistency and you're creating that community, and all of this stuff just fits together. You have your list, you have your group, and your group is your community, and you have your episodes, and it all just kind of, goes together. What's that book that talks about the flywheel? I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it. It's upstairs on my shelf. John told me to read it. It's a really good one.
Good to Great?
Good to Great. That's what it is. Good to Great. It's a little dated. One of the great businesses that they talk about is Circuit City. So
where service is state of the art. I don't know if you know, but their marketing worked except for, they're kind of not in business anymore. But the idea is there's this flywheel, and it's, just turning and cranking. And so let's say you walk up to this flywheel that is just moving really fast and really, really spinning. And someone asks, okay, well, how'd you get it spinning? How'd you get it going like that? You're like, well, was it turn 1? Was it turn 50? Was it turn
89? Like, which one was it that got it going? And it's the point that all of this stuff, builds up and goes together, the consistency, the group, the list, all of that, so that you can continue to grow your podcast and all that kind of stuff. So, John, we have kind of on this celebration episode, we're really excited about that, and we're going to continue talking about this topic right after this break.
If you have a pulse, you probably hate the subject of taxes and running the bookkeeping portion of your business. But like it or not, if you want to be a successful podcaster, you are going to have to pay attention to your numbers. But don't worry, we have the answer for you, Core Financial. Our friends over at Core Financial have taken the pressure off of us so we can focus on what we love doing most, running our podcast. They take care of all of our taxes, monthly bookkeeping, financial plans, and make sure we take full advantage of all of the tax benefits we qualify for. It just feels good knowing we aren't going to get a big surprise during tax season. If you are serious about building a business with your podcast, head on over to howtomakeapodcast.co/core to see what they can do for you.
So you've got everything you need for your podcast. You've recorded your audio and video. You're so excited, but wait, you don't know how to master the audio or edit the video of your podcast. We know someone who can help. The Podcast Editors. Picture this. You record both audio and video for your podcast. You upload it to your remote editor, and a few days later, your podcast is ready for you to upload and push to the world. What will you do with your extra time? Connect with sponsors? Grow your Facebook group? Start that project or even course you have dreamed of for months? The possibilities are endless. We are blown away by the Podcast Editors and love working with them and using their services. They can edit audio, video, or both for your podcast. Don't get stuck trying to do this on your own. Get in touch with the Podcast Editors today. If you'd like to save 50% off of your first project, head over to howtomakeapodcast.co/thepodcasteditors. Okay, and we are back from break. And John, we are going to ask our question of the day presented by
Question of the day.
Whoa, that was new.
It's a sting. I'm working on a new sting.
The question
of the day.
I wish we had like a sting thing where I could push a button and it would,
No,
play that
when
thing.
when I give you like the Ecamm thing, you got the like wah 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 thing. You'd hit that button and I'd be like saying something emotional and like, and the thing that really gets me the most is, and then you'd hear wah 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 wah, and Nick would be like, so no sting buttons for you. Sorry. Back to your question of the day thing. Yeah.
Okay. So our question of the day presented by the Podcast Editors. Check them out, thepodcasteditors.com. They will edit your podcast. Highly recommend them. Anyways, so our question of the day is this. What is the best advice for people trying to grow their podcast?
Well, that's kind of, on the heels of what we've been talking about. The thing for me, I think that this is the biggest thing is like, if you have amazing content that is great, but the best way to do it is to focus on where your listeners are and how you can get earbuds or eyeballs or whatever to see and hear your podcast. So many people have great content, but they don't think about how to build. They don't think about how to grow a list. They don't think about any of these things. They just think if I have good content, that's enough. And that is not enough.
In our other profession, wedding videography. Okay. So there's this misconception out there that if my wedding films are incredible, people will hire me, people will find me, and all of my stuff's going to go viral or whatever. And I've seen incredible filmmakers where that is not the case because they have this distribution problem. And then I've seen people that their work is fine, right? But they are just really good at marketing themselves and really good at getting their stuff in front of people. And that's the difference. I'm sure there are podcasts that you listen to that people can say, oh, these guys got 10,000 downloads in 5 months and it's just okay. But I have this great content and all I'm getting is like 100 over 2 years. Like, what's the deal? And it's exactly what John is talking about, is getting ears and eyeballs. Your stuff will not sell itself. You need to do something. Like, you can have the best content in the world, but if you're not great at getting it in front of people, it doesn't matter.
You have to market yourself. You have to brand yourself in a way that people, like, you just stay consistent and in front of people. It's not about being the best content. Yes, your content has to be good, But I was thinking about it. We get to talk with How to Film Weddings. We do a lot more interviews, especially when we first got going. And we were interviewing the cream of the crop, the best in the world at wedding videography. And some of them, like we would go try to like they would try to do their own kind of education or their own, and they're not as good at educating as they are at wedding filmmaking. And we were way better at growing and building something so we could educate and reach more people. We were better at the business side of it and better at the growing side of it. And even though maybe our work wasn't as good and award winning as theirs, we were able to grow something way bigger on the education side because we knew how to market ourselves. We knew how to grow a list. We knew these basic principles that if you're doing these things and doing them consistently, you don't have to be the best physical therapist in the world to teach people things about physical therapy, or the best real estate agent, or the best comedian. It's more about getting in front of people, staying consistent, having your branding on point so you can attract people. And then, like, if you're consistent, one episode isn't going to ruin you. If it's not the best episode, or if it is the best, but it is like what Nick is saying. If every Tuesday, you know a podcast is coming out for us, what's been interesting, and I've been testing it, I haven't sent out an email in almost 5 weeks from How to Make a Podcast to see if you all still tune in on Tuesdays. And we've trained you, and we're still getting the same amount of people listening. And, we were on the heels of launching our podcast blueprint course. And I just wanted to let it give a break from sending consistent, just a ton of emails. I just wanted to see what would happen in the month of November. And we had almost 2,000 downloads in November. And it's like, wow, this is really starting to work. We're just being consistent so people know, oh, it's Tuesday. Let me check. Yep, there's a new episode. Let me download that. That's solid. Let me share this with a friend. Oh, I have a friend that's, interested in podcasting. I'm going to tag How to Make a Podcast on Instagram. And that's what happens. And I've talked about that so many times before, but I found The Office in season 2 or season 3. And they had been working on that show for 3 years before I found it. But I fell in love with it. I became a fanatic and went back and listened to all the episodes, and then told so many people about it. And I still watch it every single day.
Wait, you like The Office?
I do like The Office. It is a thing. This picture right there, that's The Office. Bobblehead, The Office. Cups, Office.
If you're listening to this without seeing the video, he's just pointing at all
Michael
of the
Scott,
Office themed stuff in his office that's right behind him.
World's best boss mug. I like The Office. But so that'd be my answer. The more consistent you can be. I see so many people in so many different, Facebook ads, different things where it's just like, they may not be the best at what they do, but they are the best at marketing themselves. And I've just realized, oh, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be able to blow people's minds. You just have to be really good at staying in front of people in a way that is attractive, and everything kind of falls into place if you do that. And that's what we've done. It's like there are people that could be better and are better at podcasting, but it's like, here we are being consistent, giving you great information. The marketing is good. The branding is good. The group is good. And it just creates this community of loyal followers. So that'd be my answer to your QOTD.
Dude, that was a good answer to the QOTD. I wonder if we just referred to it as the QOTD from here on out, with everything. The QOTD today.
We could.
No.
We can do whatever we want.
Okay.
It's our podcast.
So you really answer that consistency, really building those loyal fans and that loyal following. That's really the biggest advice for anyone that wants to grow their podcast, is just continue to do it, continue to grind. Whenever you're, John has used this analogy so many times, whenever you're paddling your boat across the lake and you're halfway across the lake, so many people turn around and go back when it would take just as much energy to finish and get to the other side. And that's where so many of us are whenever we kind of want to give up, is, we're so close to that next breakthrough or that next thing. So before we end today's podcast, I know we're running kind of close to time. We wanted to talk about a few ways to grow your list kind of briefly, just a few things that we did. So we already touched on email lists and, building a list through a lead magnet. This is information that we know that you might want. So we're going to give it to you for free in exchange for an email list or an email address. Another thing that we did early on with How to Film Weddings, when we were really trying to build that Facebook group, we kind of used our Facebook group as our email list kind of in the beginning. And so one thing that we did is we told all the people in our group, hey, we're going to run a competition this month, and the winner gets a $50 Amazon gift card, $100 Amazon gift card, something like that, where it's something that's cool that maybe isn't, hopefully a huge stretch for you to do, with your podcast, and say the person that invites the most people to be a part of this group with people that you actually think would want to participate and be in it, the person that invites the most, we will give you a $50 Amazon gift card. Or, you can go in your analytics of your group and you can see, the people that are communicating and adding and stuff. You want people to talk in your group and communicate in your group and post in your group, because the more people that post, Facebook algorithm likes that. So then they will suggest your group to people that might like it. So you could kind of do the same thing. Hey, a $50 Amazon gift card for the person that, comments the most, that talks the most, that shares the most, that interacts the most, that sort of thing. Those are a couple of fairly inexpensive ways that you could start growing your Facebook group. And if you have your Facebook group set up correctly, asking, somebody, hey, we have our email list. Do you want to be a part of that? Don't make it a requirement, but ask them if they want to. And we probably get, in the podcast group, we probably get 8 out of 10 people say that they will. And in the wedding one, it's probably about 50-50 that say that they will. But those are genius things that we have learned that I think have really helped grow the How to Film Weddings group.
Don't be limited by the suggestions. We are always thinking of new ways. This last week in How to Film Weddings, I had the idea. A friend of mine texted me and said, hey, do you happen to have a template email for holiday sales for, like hard drives and raw footage and, all this geeky stuff with video? And I was like, no, but I could write one up for you. And then I was like, I'm just going to write 4 or 5 emails as templates and make those a freebie on our website and give them for free to the community. All they have to do is give us their email address, and they can have 5 really great email templates to send to their couples. It was an amazing free gift. And it's like, I want to say over 100 people have downloaded those for free now. And, some of them might have already been on our email list, but there we go. We added some more, people to our list, and we're giving, and it's helpful to them, and we're not spamming them. And when we do come to a time where we want to sell something or offer a discount, we were able to do a Black Friday sale. We called it Yellow Wednesday. We did Blue Wednesday with our, How to Make a Podcast, but it made us thousands and thousands of dollars because we had those lists. And if we didn't have those lists, we wouldn't have made anything. And I think we sent out like 3 or 4 total emails. It's like doing, the work of building the list and then offering them something. Every, 20 emails might be something you sell them. And so that has been so helpful for us to be consistent. And so be thinking of ways that you can grow that list. And then just a little thing we're testing. There's a website called Community, and it is a text message platform. And you sign up. We're paying $100 a month, and that gets us up to 1,000 people on a text message list. And what it is, basically, people can text in a number, and there's an app, and there's a website, and they can text me and Nick now. And so if they text us, they get signed up into our text message campaign, and it's building a list of text messages. And we think that's where, we're building that now. And we'll talk more about building a text list as we learn more about it. But we've got like 50 or so people on that list now. And if we want to send a text message, it's kind of hard to not read a text message. So, there's little things like that. But again, if the heart is how can I serve my community? How can I help them? And if you help them enough, there's a small percentage of those people that will end up spending money with you. And then you can pour more gas onto the fire and continue to grow. And so, Nick, congrats on 10,000 downloads. I'm excited about 20,000. I'm excited about 50,000. All of the things. I enjoy the process so much. And that is my last piece of advice. Enjoy the journey. Make a plan for your journey and get advice. Take courses, learn things. Nick, I don't know if you know or not, but we do have a course.
We do. It is called the Podcast Blueprint. And if you are interested in having some more information about that, head over to thepodcastblueprint.co. That's thepodcastblueprint.co. There you can actually sign up to be on our waiting list. We are getting ready to announce some really cool things with the Podcast Blueprint here in the next couple of weeks, in the next month or so, I think. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. No, I knew we were. Yeah. I was just kind of teeing you up a little bit. But yes. But in the Podcast Blueprint, this, getting listeners, this is one of the foundational things that we talk about. And, all this stuff we're talking about is in this blueprint so that you can learn the steps, learn the things. It's exactly what we did to grow 2 podcasts, right? It's the exact same thing that we did to monetize our podcast, where we make $20,000 a month from podcasting. Like, it's exactly what we did. So if you like more information on that, head over to thepodcastblueprint.co. John, it has been good to hang out with you. I like you in your beanie.
Always.
There.
Yeah, I was putting some Christmas ornaments on the tree, and it was a little chilly, and I was like, you know what, I'm throwing a beanie on, and then I was like, let's record a podcast episode. I guess I could say I've moved office. I'm officing from home now, which is cool. COVID, I made me realize that, hey, I like being at home more, and so I was like, I'm moving my office home, so here I am. I'm in a studio at my house. So, but anyway, it was like, let's just do some podcasting. And I had a beanie on, so
all right, it looks good.
I mean, the hair doesn't look super good. Hey, that might be a good look. There we go. Let me see how cool. Well, okay, sorry. You were trying to wrap it up, and I was being a beanie goober.
I was just saying I like your beanie. Usually that's my look, but that's because it's more of a warmth thing since there's not. Much covering the top of my head there. But anyway, it has been great to hang out with you. We hope that this episode, there are some nuggets in here that have been helpful to you, the listener. Thank you so much for listening and downloading and being a part of this podcast. We want to thank you all so much because without you guys, the listeners, we wouldn't be able to do this. And so we really do appreciate you. And that's being sincere. I'm not like trying to be funny or anything. I really do mean that. John gave me a look. John gave me a look. And so you might not have meant to.
Buddy. I didn't mean to.
Anyways, so and then if I don't know what I'm saying, I'm just going to stop this. So guys, thanks for listening. Until next time, we'll see you.
See you guys.